Believe it or not, I spend a lot of each big picture's conceptual phase hoping to be scooped. Specifically, when there's something political or controversial that happens kinda tied into my little wheelhouse here, I always hope that someone else says what I might have wanted to say first, so that I can do a show about something else. Anything else. Believe it or not, even jaded nihilistic sourpusses like me don't like making themselves depressed on purpose. But, with all the are the movies to blame talk re-emerging in the wake of the tragic Aurora massacre, I'm just not seeing my take being verbalized anywhere else, so I'm feeling like I want to say something. So, we'll do this now while it counts, and then next week I promise we'll get back to happy shows about old cartoons or whatever. So, the debate about violence in society versus violent media tends to engender extreme reactions on both sides, mostly because both sides see the answer as simple and the other's position as not just wrong, but unimportant. Those on the side of censorship feel that violent movies, games, etc. are such arbitrary, unimportant things compared to societal safety or human lives that we might as well just ban them anyway just to be on the safe side. Even if it doesn't fix the problem, what did we lose, right? Those on the side of artistic free expression, on the other hand, tend to see the very idea that dark or violent imagery might contribute to real-life evil in some way as such a ridiculous proposition that it's not even worth discussing. Now, most of the time, the why should we even talk about this side has the logical upper hand in my opinion, since there are very few instances where something that even vaguely suggests a cause and effect link is ever present. To use some of the more famous examples from last century's version of this same dance, no, the Ninja Turtles, the Power Rangers, professional wrestling, and Mortal Kombat did not make kids want to fight. Kids liked those things because kids already like fighting. Unfortunately, while the no visible link, nothing to see here argument is best for those who, like me, do not believe in restriction or censorship of artistic expression, well, like it or not, when this deranged psychopath in Colorado dresses himself up like a supervillain, shoots up a movie theater and tells the cops he's the Joker, or when Anders Behring Breivik, remember him, goes on a killing spree in Oslo and calls Call of Duty his training simulator, well, that's called a link, folks. An incredibly unreliable and very likely facetious link put forth by a diseased mind, yes, but I do think it means we kinda have to at least talk about it, yeah. So, let's. In the interest of cutting right to the chase, I mean, let's ask the question. Is it possible that violent art and entertainment are not healthy for society? That the prevalence of violent imagery, dark themes, morally ambiguous anti-heroism in our popular culture contributes to a climate that makes the development of the pathologies seen in these and other killers more widespread? Well, yes, I don't like it, and I sure as hell don't accept it as proven fact, but possible? I mean, yes, it's possible. It's also possible that I'll get shot in the face tomorrow because I choose to wear a red shirt and happen to cross the path of a psycho who's driven to fits of murderous rage by the color red, because possible doesn't mean the same thing as likely. But to get more specific, is it possible that had these specific works never been produced, that the two subhumans in question might not have found avatars to give their insanity the form and, at least in their fractured minds, focus to be carried to fruition? Yes, possible. Not likely, not something I in any way buy, but in the name of intellectual honesty, I'm forced to admit, possible. But, I think there's an all-important follow-up question that no one ever seems to ask about these things, and that question is, possible or not, what can we actually do about it? Even if you could conclusively prove beyond a reasonable doubt that if the Dark Knight and/or its version of the Joker had never existed, this freak show in Colorado would never have been quote-unquote inspired to undertake his vile, cowardly rampage, you won't and can't prove that, by the way, it would be completely meaningless. The movie already exists. You can't unmake it any more than you can unmurder those poor people. And no, you can't just say, well, we'll just make it so you can't make movies or games or books like that anymore and prevent the next one, because it's impossible to know what the next one will claim to lead back to. That's the fatal case-closed, shows-over flaw in the whole well-intentioned censorship argument. We never, ever know what these scoundrels say inspired them until after the carnage has already happened. Charles Manson claimed his actions were influenced by a Beatles song, and you can bet your bottom dollar that at no point in the recording of the White Album did the record producers sit around and say, you know, Helter Skelter's a great track, but doesn't it sound like something that will clearly inspire a California cult leader to commit a series of brutal murders aimed at kickstarting an apocalyptic race war? You cannot accurately predict the actions of a madman. That's what makes him a madman. We exist in a chaotic world, and that can be frustrating because it feels like chaotic people have an unfair advantage over the rest of us. And as such, no matter how psychologically comforting it may feel to just do something in the wake of a senseless tragedy, you can't just start banning or censoring things because you think they might give people bad ideas, for the simple reason that in a civilized society, you don't punish innocent people for the possible crimes of another. Now, finally, while I can't really argue that the safety of people isn't more important, much more important than the safety of movies and other entertainments, I do feel like I need to close this out by standing up for them all the same. Because, and I truly believe this, movies and games and books and all the rest are sacred. Yes, even the ones you might call trivial or disposable. The arts aren't just how we distract ourselves, they're our most powerful voice, our stamp on the world, our gift to the future. They're our legacy, and the only form of immortality that we know for sure actually exists. And speaking as someone who not only criticizes such art, but yes, also seeks to make some of it himself, I will be damned before my stamp or anyone else's legacy is denied the right to simply exist because of something that someone believes might happen. The aftermath of tragedies like the horror unleashed in Colorado are times for reflection and introspection, and I hope that's what this piece has been a part of. They are not, however, times for making rash, emotion-based decisions with consequences we cannot possibly predict, about censorship or about anything else. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.